Hello once again and welcome back to the 28-Day Get Hired Challenge. I'm Alyssa Miller and it is day 9. We're talking about a topic really near and dear to my heart today. We're going to dig into the struggles of finding an entry-level position in cybersecurity. Let's go. All right, everybody, welcome to day 9 of the 28-Day Get Hired Challenge. I'm Alyssa Miller. We are talking about the struggle of finding an entry-level role in cybersecurity. Obviously, for so many of you who are watching this is probably where you're at. You're probably trying to find that first job, and you're saying, boy, I need to find just an entry-level job, something to get me going. And that can be really difficult. We talked about this a little bit in episode 7, just the struggle, the just how uncommon it is to find entry-level cybersecurity career positions. It's because so many organizations feel like, you know, everybody's got to have some cybersecurity experience coming in the door. We all want to hire the most, experienced individuals we can find. Well, of course, the problem with that is if everybody's hiring experienced people, how does anybody ever get started to get that experience in the first place? And so this is a challenge that I have seen a lot of people talk about, but there's not any really good answers to. Now, I wish I could sit here and say, I'm going to give you all the really good answers, but I don't really have all the answers either. But what I'm hoping to give you are some nuggets of knowledge that you can use to help you overcome some of the obstacles that stand in the way. So let's talk about being entry level in cybersecurity. What does entry level even mean? Well, I'll tell you what, we here in the cybersecurity industry, we don't know. Why do I say we don't know? Because you'll look at jobs that say they're entry level and they're asking for years of experience and certificates and all sorts of things. It's crazy. And what we need to recognize, and we're going to get into this in a later episode. We'll talk about job descriptions some more and how to really break through that. But what you have to understand is that at the end of the day, if it feels like it's an entry-level job, forget how many years of experience they're asking for, apply. Because most of the time, a lot of these organizations that say they want 1 to 3 years and they want this or that, they're not going to find that candidate for what they're willing to pay anyway. Obviously entry-level roles pay lower than experienced roles. And organizations are finding this out more and more that, if you're going to ask for a couple years of experience, A, that's not entry-level, and B, you have to pay more for that resource. So let's talk about things that work and things that don't when you're trying to land that cybersecurity role as an entry-level candidate. So first thing you might think about is, well, boy, I really wish I had a degree in cybersecurity. We see more and more of our educational institutions, our colleges and universities offering cybersecurity career programs, but how much do they really help? Well, let's go back to that survey that I did in 2020 where I talked to people about their career search and how long it had been going. And one of the things I asked them was, okay, you're in a career search. Well, do you have a cybersecurity degree or not? And here's what I found. I found that people with cybersecurity degrees didn't find jobs any faster than anyone else. In fact, you can see in some cases it almost seems to be harder to find a job when you have a cybersecurity degree. Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but you know what happens there is a couple of things. One, I think, quite honestly, there are some people who come out of, let's explain that more than 12 months first. So we see this on the right side, you see more than 12 months. A lot of people with cybersecurity degrees. I think what happens is a lot of people were coming out of cybersecurity degree programs expecting a big payday. They were expecting to be making six figures. And that's because that's what the college programs were selling. They were telling people, oh, hey, get a degree in cybersecurity and you'll make a six-figure salary. Yeah, the reality isn't that. The reality is most entry-level cybersecurity positions right now in 2022, you're probably looking at a starting salary of somewhere in the $70,000 to $90,000 range. If you don't have experience, that's where you're at. And honestly, it doesn't matter if you have a cybersecurity degree or not. Now, that's not to say that a cybersecurity degree isn't worth something. It definitely is. You've learned through that program, you've learned all sorts of foundational knowledge that sets you apart from the crowd, but it's not a requirement. And that's the thing. If you have a degree in anything, that's probably going to be enough. And indeed, you don't even need a degree sometimes. Some organizations, they're still there. They're still looking for people with degrees. And having a degree can be helpful. There's a lot of things you learn by going through the college experience and a lot of the core classes and stuff that you will use. Don't get me wrong. It is helpful having a degree. But understand that you could have a degree in underwater basket weaving. And a lot of times, that's good enough. Degrees in cybersecurity are really not that critical for landing a first job. Now, they might become more important down the road, depending on what you try to do with your career, but just understand that. So let's talk about some other things. Certifications. Certifications. Are they valuable? Are they not? Here's the problem with certifications. They're expensive. But yet, how many job descriptions out there are looking for certifications? A lot. So here's what my advice to you is about certifications. Maybe get one. Look for one that's a little less expensive. One that you can afford, because you're going to be funding this one on your own. In the future, your employers should be paying for you to get trained and certified in things. But out of the gates, if you're going to go to get a certification, and indeed it's a good idea because a lot of times that's a hurdle. You just need to be able to check that box that you have a certification to get past the first couple reviews of your application when you apply to a job. Look at the ones that are more inexpensive. I could name, there's a number of different organizations. I don't want to throw out names right now because I don't really want to endorse somebody unintentionally or whatnot. But understand that it's not so critical which certification you have. I also understand that having a lot of certifications might seem like a good idea, but that can actually be counterproductive. A lot of hiring managers, even myself, I'll be honest, if I see somebody with a lot of alphabet soup of different certifications after their name, I start to wonder and I get a little more skeptical. A lot of times those are people who, are book smart. They can read and they can pass a lot of tests and things, but can they actually apply that knowledge? Did they even retain a lot of the knowledge that they gained getting that cert? If you got a certification but you don't have job experience, I'm wondering how much of that knowledge you really kept. So one certification, maybe two, definitely don't go into any more than that because it's not going to pay you any dividends and you're just spending money that you don't need to be spending. We talked earlier in a previous day about mentoring, and mentoring can be powerful. But mentoring itself is good for career progression and career growth. Mentoring in and of itself doesn't necessarily get you into a job, okay? And so that's an important thing to understand. Your mentor might be able to help you as you go through the interview process. They might be able to network you and connect you with people who have open positions. Now that would be of value. But at the end of the day, understand that a mentoring relationship is more about ongoing growth and development not really the thing that's going to get you over the hump. And as I showed you in a previous episode, my survey results bear that out. It doesn't shorten that job search any for you. So what else can you do when you're searching for an entry-level role? Well, we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to get into how you tailor your resume, how you go after the right jobs, all sorts of things like that. But just to give you some little nuggets that you can use here today. The first thing to understand is that you want to stand out. Whatever work you've done, you need to find ways to get it on your resume. And we're going to talk about that more. But how can you think about what you're doing. If you've built a home lab, which I know is a thing a lot of people recommend to entry-level job seekers. They say, well, build a home lab and do your own research. If you are fortunate enough that you've actually been able to do that in whatever free time you have, great. But how do you get that on a resume? So we're going to talk in the future about how you can use content creation and other things to give you something that you can credibly put on your resume. But look for ways that you can stand out. What are unique things about you and how do you bring that to the space? And the biggest key with finding an entry-level job is understanding what you're looking for and an understanding that those job descriptions, they're kind of garbage. And so you can't let a bad job description stand in your way. We're going to get into that in a future episode. We're going to dig more into that. But for now, understand where things lie and understand that your struggles in finding a role isn't a statement on your abilities. It isn't a statement of hopelessness either. Understand there are people out there looking to bring in new talent to this industry. So keep searching, keep going. Don't make the mistakes of investing a ton of money in things like degrees and certifications, but keep after it. Go after those jobs. Shoot your shot, even if they're asking for a few years of experience. Put your name in there anyway. And we're going to talk more as we keep going through these 28 days. We're going to get into how you make that work for you. So for now, I want to hear from you in the comments. Have you looked at a certification? Have you looked at getting a cybersecurity degree? Did you get a cybersecurity degree? How was that process? Tell me about those things. Tell me if you went out and got a certificate or certification of some type. I want to hear from you, and I'll be selecting one of those commenters at random to win a free copy of my book. Also a reminder, once again, that Manning Publications is going to be offering all this month a 35% discount on all of their titles. All you need to do is go to their website and enter this discount code, or go to the link, or scan that QR code. I promise you it's safe. I promise you no malware, no rickrolls, nothing like that. I wouldn't do that to you because I want you to keep coming back. I want you to be back here for every day of this challenge because I'm bringing you more and more content out of my book every day, and it's all focused on trying to help you get hired in cybersecurity. We'll see you next time.